YouTube, Facebook, forum friends, Bobby C back here with another custom gun quick look. Today we're going to be looking at one of my 5 or 6 Bunker Arms 1911s. This particular 1911 came to me secondhand from a friend who I blind called and essentially inquired about picking it up, because when I originally saw this firearm, it was so stunningly beautiful. I thought one day that I needed to add it to the collection. Brandon is a friend and somebody who I was on the bandwagon early with, but this particular one was just so lights out beautiful that I just could not fathom not having it in my collection. And there's a small handful of 1911s floating around out there by various builders that I have notes on that one day I would certainly love to add to the stable. So with that said, although this one is stunning and vastly different than all of my other bunker guns, it's no doubt the most beautiful and the most luxurious. It is not my favorite for a few reasons, and I can get into those as I kind of go through the quick look. So with that said, let's talk a little bit about the features of this firearm, what makes it so cool, and then I'll talk a little bit about why I have another one in my stable that I cherish just a little bit more than this particular one. So first and foremost, we start up front. This is a 9mm gun from Brandon. This features a KKM barrel that was chambered 355 by Brandon at his shop. One thing that makes Brandon's firearms a bit different than the majority of the other custom builders out there is almost all the parts that Brandon uses are all in-house CNC made at Brandon's shop, which is very cool. Most other builders are outsourcing parts or having a machine shop make parts for them, and that's totally fine. But with Bunker, it is really cool that he gets to oversee all quality control in almost everything that he does. So outside of the KKM barrel, let's talk a little bit about what's up front. This is Brandon Bunker's innovative radial bushing. And if you guys don't know about the radial bushing, I would highly suggest doing some Google searching. A little bit different approach to barrel lockup up front and kind of the way he fits the gun together. We have a very, very cool French border running all the way down the top of the slide, and then a pretty deep chamfer on this one as well. As you can see, obviously that square trigger guard jumps out immediately, and the finish on this gun jumps out right away. This is a high polished chrome plated 9mm. You can see we have a insanely good blended front sight. I mean, you cannot see the dovetail in the blending of this. And then what's cool is it's pinned, so it almost makes it look like it's staked in. So nice little trick there by Brandon. And if I would say there was one weakness about this particular one, it's that the front sight blade was also chromed. I would have preferred that to have been black, but for blending purposes, I can understand and totally get the reason why that was done that way. We have a gold bead front dot with some really, really nice cuts up top, and then your Kensite rear, which again, no dovetail, and just blended into the slide perfectly. Sorry about that. Okay, we have some ball cuts as well up front. We have a flush cut slide stop niter blued small parts, a blended magwell, niter blue grip screws, chalice bushings, and then Brandon's in-house grips, which his grips are always lights out. Bunker arms thumb safety. The blending of that beaver tail is pretty much flawless. There's not many that can compete in the blending of the beaver tail with Bunker Arms or Bunker Machine Works. And then we have a Bunker Arms slide stop. If we look at the back of this slide, we can see that this is blended up almost perfectly, frame to slide, with some rear serrations cut all the way through the extractor, and it kind of flows right through the hammer, which is really cool. I think this is 25 or 30 lines. I think this is actually 30 lines per inch checkering, which is very, very comfortable, very fine checkering, and really cool. So why is this not my all-time favorite bunker gun? Well, first and foremost, I have the two earliest serial number guns that Brandon ever released to the public, which is 003 and 007. This one is 0026. So just serial number and close to heart. The lower serial number guns are kind of, for me, where it's at. They're just a little more special to me because they were guns that were built before really anyone knew who Brandon Bunker was. The other reason why is, if you notice this gun, Brandon has a very, very distinct style, and he's probably learned to rebuild 1911s 3 or 4 times now, and just kind of changing the way his approach to building guns is. And although very distinguishable and very recognizable with the serrations on the back and the logo where the cocking serrations normally go for most folks, these guns are built in a way where Brandon is precision machining on a CNC machine to the tightest tolerances possible and doing some hand fitting then, making life a lot easier for himself. That's a little bit different approach to like 007, for example, which was very large, oversized parts, and then hand filing and hand blending together. Both equally as impressive, this to the earlier models that Brandon did. However, there's just something special, again, to those early serial number guns that I have from Brandon, where, you know, not everyone really knew who Bunker Arms was or Bunker Machine Works was. This one is certainly the most impressive. I've been heard this referred to as a Patek Philippe in a Rolex world. This firearm has all the goodies, and we've talked quite a bit about the majority of them. Inside here, Brandon has a Marvel disconnector cut, and he's done it a little bit different than Bob did, or some of the other guys are doing it these days, which makes it really cool. And just overall, the package of this is really impressive. Very beautiful gun, very luxurious gun, very, very shiny and printy gun. But with that said, a beautiful one in its own right, probably my most beautiful gun in the collection. Maybe not, but it's certainly up there. It's in the top 4 or 5 certainly, and just one that when people see it, they're pretty blown away by it. But that's not uncommon, because when people see the majority of the guns that I have, they're pretty blown away by it. So anyways, hope you guys liked the quick peek at the Bunker Arms 9mm. Hope you guys found it somewhat educational or found it somewhat entertaining, and stay tuned for the next one. I'll be posting some new stuff up here sooner than later. Thanks for joining, guys.